So, good afternoon everyone. So, natapos na natin yung iba't ibang policies on ICT. Ngayon, tumako naman tayo on some issues on ICT and internet policies and regulations. So, apat na issues yung matatapos natin dito ngayong araw. Una, issue number 1, freedom of expression and censorship. So, freedom of expression. So, ano nga ba yung freedom of expression? It's the right of every person to share ideas, opinions, information freely. So, freedom of expression means may mga karapatan tayo may pahayag ng ating mga thoughts, opinions, or ideas ng malaya. And then, next one, censorship is the control, restriction, or blocking of information, websites, or opinions by a government, organization, or platform. So, dito naman sa censorship of the restriction or blocking of certain information or content. So, ginagawa ito para maiwasan ang mga harmful or inappropriate content, pero minsan maaari rin itong limitahan yung freedom of expression natin. So, halimbawa ko dito sa freedom of expression, pwede tayong mag-post ng ating mga opinion sa social media. Yan, pwede tayong mag-post ng mga opinion sa social media, magsalita tungkol sa mga isyong mahalaga para sa atin. Basta, maging responsable tayo sa pag-pindol o paggamit ng social media at respeto natin yung iba. Hindi porket meron tayong freedom of expression, pwede natin balas o basin yung ibang tao. So ngayon naman, alam na natin kung ano ang freedom of expression and censorship. Let's proceed to the example para mas maintindihan natin kung paano ito naapektuhan sa paggamit natin ng paano ito nakaka-apekto sa paggamit natin ng internet. So, unang example, sino gusto magbasa? Sige.
Restriction on online platforms. Some websites and social media platforms have rules about what users can post. Content that violates copyright, community standards, or terms of service may be removed. Example: a person uploads a copyrighted movie or song on a website without permission. The platform removes the content to protect intellectual property.
Thank you, Trisha. So the second example is the first example is restriction on online platforms. So dito, ang mga website at social media platforms ay may mga rules na kailangan sundin ng mga users, tayong mga users. Kapag may mga content na lumalabag sa copyright o community standards, pwede nila itong i-remove. For example, kapag may nag-upload ng movie o music without permission, pwede tanggalin ito ng platform para maprotektahan ang rights ng original owner. Kunwari, nag-post ka ng isang music na without permission, pwede tanggalin ng platform na yung pinost mo yun, para respeto dun sa original na may-ari o gumawa ng music na yun. Second example, internet censorship and filtering. Sino gusto magbasa?
The internet censorship and flooding. Censorship happens when certain websites or information are blocked or filtered. This limits what users can access online. Example: ICC block gaming, school media websites, give students focus on learning.
Ayan. So the second example is internet censorship and filtering. Nangyayari ito kapag may mga website or information na binablock o nililimitahan ang access. Dahil dito, hindi lahat ng content ay nakikita ng mga users. For example, maraming discourse ang nagbablock ng mga gaming at social media websites para matulungan ang mga estudyante makapag-focus sa kanilang pag-aaral. Yung ibang mga gaming, binablock nung school, yung ibang gaming, binablock ng school para makapag-focus yung mga estudyante dun sa kanilang pag-aaral. So, yun yung pangalawang example. The third example, who wants to read? Sige, Rose.
Third example, defamation and freedom of expression. Defamation happens when false statements harm a person's reputation. Some people may use legal actions against defamation, but it can also discourage others from expressing their opinions. Example, someone posts a false accusation against another person in social media, which damages that person's reputation.
So, the third example is defamation. The third example is defamation. Ang defamation ay ang pagkakalat ng mga maling impormasyon na maaaring makasira sa reputasyon ng isang tao. Ito yung pag-post ng mga maling accusation na maaaring makasira doon sa isang tao. For example, kung may nag-post ng false accusation sa social media, maaaring masira ang pangalan ng taong inakusahan at maaaring nito magkaroon ng legal consequences. So, syempre, kung ikaw nag-post ka ng mga maling accusation, bibigyan ka ng meron kang consequences dun sa ginawa mong action na yun. So, yun yung defamation. Remember that kasi nasa sa quiz natin. So, natakot na natin yung issue number 1. So, to conclude this issue, freedom of expression is an important human right because it allows people to share their thoughts, opinions, and ideas. So, however, dapat itong gamitin ng responsable dahil ang censorship, copyright violation, at defamation ay maaaring maka-apekto sa rights ng ibang tao. So, yung mga yon, maaaring maka-apekto dun sa karapatan ng isang tao. Kaya mahalaga magkaroon ng balance sa pagitan ng freedom at responsibility sa paggamit natin ng internet. Hindi porket meron tayong freedom of expression, of malaya tayong ihayag yung gusto natin sabihin dito sa internet, dito sa social media, hindi tayo pwedeng maging barubal. Dapat may respeto pa rin dun sa mga gumagamit din dun sa kapwa natin, which is yung gumagamit din ng internet. So, dito na tayo sa issue number 2, privacy and security. So, una, alamin muna natin what is privacy. Privacy is the right of a person to keep personal information, communication, and activities private. So, next one, security refers to the protection of personal information and data from unauthorized access, misuse, or theft. So, privacy and security are important issues in today's digital world. Naniniwala ba kayo doon? Yes. So, ang privacy ay tungkol sa pagpoprotekta ng ating mga personal na informasyon at pagpapanatiling pribado nito. Samantala, yung security naman ay nakatuon sa pagprotekta ng mga data laban sa mga hackers, unauthorized users, at iba pang mga online threats. Ayun nga, yung mga yan. So now that we understand the meaning of privacy and security, let's look at the different types of privacy and how they affect our use of the internet, kung paano ito nakaka-apekto sa paggamit natin ng internet. So meron rin itong example. Una yung personal privacy. Sino gusto magbasa? Sige, Vivian.
Personal privacy is the right of individuals to live their personal life, to home and private matters free from interference. Example, reading someone's private messages without permission.
Ayan, sa example pa lang naman, napakadaling intindihin na reading someone's private messages without permission. So, ibig sabihin nito, may karapatan ng bawat tao na panatiling pribado ang kanila
kanilang personal life at mga pribadong bagay. For example nga, ang pagbabasa ng private messages ng ibang tao na walang permission ay isang violation ng personal privacy. So kung ikaw, nagbasa ka ng private messages, di ba Jenny? Oo. Maaari kang makasuhan ng violation of personal privacy.
Oh, personal privacy.
Anong Republic Act yan?
Yan yung personal privacy. Pagbabasa ng mga messages without the consent of the original user. Yes. The owner. Yes. So, dito na let's proceed to example 2, privacy of communication. Who wants to read? Sige, IP. Sige.
Privacy of communication protects phone calls, text messages, emails, and online conversations from being accessed by others. Example, hackers secretly access someone's email, account, and read.
Thank you. So the second example is the privacy of communication. Ito naman ay tumutukoy sa pagpoprotekta ng ating mga phone calls. Phone calls, mga tawag, text messages, emails, at online conversations mula sa iba't ibang tao. For example, kung may hacker na nakapasok sa email account ng isang tao at binasa ang kanyang messages, it is a violation of communication privacy. Kung kunyari, sa IB, isang hacker sa IB, kunyari, pwede siyang makasuhan ng violation of communication privacy. Yun yung pwedeng ikasuhin kay IB. Yun yun. So, example 3, sino gustong magbasa? Sige, Rachel.
Privacy po. Because of protection of personal data collected by website, apps, and organizations. Example, Shopee, apps collect their personal information and distribute others companies without
Thank you. So, the third type is information privacy. Ito naman ito tungkol sa pagproprotekta ng personal information na pinokolekta ng websites and apps at mga organization. For example, kung ang isang app ay nag-share ng personal data ng users sa ibang companies without consent, it violates information privacy. So, tawag ito? Yan sa Shopee, di ba? Sa Shopee ba, nag-ilang kayo ng mga personal data? Ayun, dahil yung Shopee, sinare niya yung personal data mo sa ibang apps or organization. Ayun, maaari siyang kasuhan ng violates information privacy. Yun yung maaaring ikasukay sa apps na yun. Yun. Okay. So, naintindihan ba yung issue number 2, privacy and security? Yes. Yes. So, let's proceed to issue number 3, surveillance and data retention. Who wants to read? Janelle. Surveillance is the monitoring and tracking of a person's activities, especially through electronic communication and technology. Data retention is the storage and keeping of information collected from users for future use. Thank you, Janelle. So, surveillance and data retention have become common in today's digital world. So, ang surveillance ay tutukoy sa pag-monitor o pag-track ng activities ng mga tao gamit ang technology. Samantala naman, yung data retention ay ang pag-store o pagtatago ng information na nakukolekta mula sa users para magamit sa hinaharap. So, ginagamit ito para sa security purposes, pero maaari rin itong magdulot ng concern tungkol sa privacy. Naintindihan ko? So, meron din itong dalawang example. So, dito muna tayo sa data variance. Who wants to read? Sige, Jenny.
Data surveillance is the use of personal information and online activities to monitor a person's behavior. Example, social media platforms track the pages you visit and the content.
Thank you. So, the first example is data brilliance. Nangyayari ito kapag ginagamit ng mga organizations ang personal information at online activities ng isang tao para ma-monitor ang kanyang behavior. For example, tinatrack ang social media platforms ng mga social media live natin at mga pages na binibisita natin upang malaman ang ating mga interest. So, huwag na tayong lalayo. Tungkol kay sinong nakakakilala kay Rene Batterbona? Di ba pag pinanood mo yung niya, video niya, sinerch mo, di ba palagi nang lalabas dun sa FYP mo yung mga video niya? Yun yung example of data brilliance. So, pangalawang example, data retention. Joanna.
Data retention involves storing information collected from users for a certain period. Example, a mobile network company keeps records of call logs and text message data.
Ayan, thank you. So, dito naman tayo sa second example, which is the data retention. Dito naman ay tumutukoy sa pagtatago ng user's information para magamit sa future reference. For example, yung mga mobile network companies ay nagtatago ng call logs at messages records para sa security at legal purposes. Diba dun sa natin sa phone natin, dun sa dial, diba yung mga, meron tayong history doon, pag tumawag tayo, diba merong history doon, yun yung data retention. Diba naka-record doon kung sino yung mga tinawagan natin, anong oras, gano'n, yun. Naintindihan po ba yung yung issue number 3, surveillance and data retention? Do you have any question? So, let's proceed to issue number 4. E-pollutants from e-waste. Who wants to read? Other hand? Okay, Dan.
Do I be yan?
Or electronic waste refers to the discard and
Can do it.
electronic devices such as computers, mobile phones, printers, televisions, and other electronic equipment. E-pollutants are harmful substances found in electronic waste that can damage the environment and human health if not properly managed.
So, alam niyo ba yung e-waste or electronic waste? Hindi. Sige, papaliwan ko. E-waste or electronic waste refers to old, broken, or unused electronic devices such as computers, cell phones, laptops, television. Ito yung mga nasira or hindi na nagagamit na ano yung natin? Mga gadget, oo, tama. Ang mga devices na ito ay maaaring maglaman ng harmful substances. Ganyan. Na tinatawag na e-pollutants. So, ano nyo to dahil nandito yung kasama to sa natin, sa quiz natin mamaya. So, yun nga, kapag hindi na-dispose ng maayos yung mga gadget natin, maaari itong makasama sa environment at maging sa kalusugan nating mga tao. So, dapat kapag may mga broken phones, laptops kayo, dapat itapon nyo sa tamang tapunan. O pwede din sa mga recycling center. Meron yon. Pero hindi ko lang nailagay dito kung saan pwede itapon yun. Kung saan lugar din yun. So, meron ulit ito 3 examples. So, una, improper disposal of electronic devices. Ito yung maling tag ng mga electronic devices. Who wants to read? Sige, Rosie.
Example number 1, improper disposal of electronic devices. When electronic devices are thrown away carelessly, toxic materials can contaminate the soil, air, and water. Example, old batteries, broken cell phones, and damaged computers are thrown into regular landfills.
Thank you, Rosie. So, the first example is improper disposal of electronic devices. So, nangyayari ito kapag ang mga human gadgets tulad yung basura. Dahil dito, maaaring kumalat ang toxic substances na nakakasama sa lupa, hangin, at sa ating tubig. Even sa kalusugan nating mga tao. Yun, naintindihan niyo po yung example na yan? Improper disposal of electronic devices? Yes. So, let's proceed to example number 2, increasing amount of e-waste. Who wants to read? Sige, Daniela.
Because technology is everything, people often replace their gadgets even when they are still useful. For example, many people buy a new smartphone every year and discard their old.
Ayan naman, increasing amount of e-waste. Ito naman yung kunyari, iPhone sa Apple phone. Kunyari, mayroon kang cellphone na iPhone. Tapos, di ba, naglabas ulit sila. Mag-upgrade ka ulit ng cellphone. Yung cellphone na yun, na pinaglumaan na naman, ayun, mas dadami na naman yung amount of e-waste. Kasi nga, many people buy a new smartphone every year and discard their old devices. Kahit na pwede pa naman yung cellphone nila, di ba? Bumibili ulit sila ng bago. For what reason? Ivy? Gusto lang. Oo naman. Naintindihan niyo yun? Increasing amount of e-waste. So let's proceed to example number 3, recycling of e-waste. Sige, Christian.
Proper recycling allows valuable materials from both electronics all computers and phones are sent to recycling centers instead of being thrown away.
Ayan nga, yung sinabi ko kanina. Sa halip po ng mga ayun, sa halip po ng mga lumang electronic devices, maaari natin itong i-recycle upang magamit muli ang ilang materials na mayroon dito. Through recycling, nababawasan na ang pollution at natutulungan nating maprotektahan ang ating environment. Agree ba kayo doon? Oo. Yun. So, nabangking lang yan. So to conclude this issue, e-waste is becoming a serious environmental problem. Because of the increasing use and disposal of electronic devices, so bilang responsible users of technology, tayo, kailangan nating maging maingat sa tamang pagtatapon at pagre-recycle ng electronic waste upang matulong sa pagpoprotekta ng ating environment at sa ating kalusugan. Kasi kung balagaling magtapon, ayaw din yung maapektuhan, di ba? Right? Yes? Agree? Make sense? Are you ready? So, dumako naman tayo dito sa for the teachers and teaching. Ay, naintindihan niyo pala yung apat na issue. Ano na yung issue number 1?
Freedom of expression and censorship.
Issue number 2?
Privacy and security.
About the third issue.
Surveillance and data retention.
And last?
E-pollutants from e-waste.
Ayan. So, dito naman tayo sa katap ko lang for the teachers and teaching. Teachers should stay updated on ICT and teach its proper use. Technology supports teaching but cannot replace teachers. Teachers must follow ICT rules to protect privacy and security. So, dito, sa una, teachers should stay updated on ICT and teach its proper use. Dapat laging updated ang mga guro sa mga bagong technology upang may turo ito ng tama sa mga estudyante at estudyante na responsable. Siyempre, paano mo ituturo yung paggamit ng tamang paggamit ng ICT kung hindi mo alam na, di ba? Right? Yes. So, second one, technology supports teaching but cannot replace teacher. Yung technology, malaking tulong ito sa atin. Pero, technology cannot replace teacher. Mas maganda pa rin na merong teacher na nagtuturo doon sa harapan. Agree ba kayo doon? Yes. Teachers must follow ICT rules to protect privacy and security. So, mahalagang sundin ng mga guro ang mga patakaran sa ICT upang maprotektahan nga yung pribado informasyon at mapanatili ang kaligtasan lahat sa lahat online. Dito naman tayo, for the learners and learning, technology is very helpful in improving learning and developing important skills. However, learners should also be guided on how to use technology responsibly. They should understand both the benefits and risks of technology and be aware of issues such as ways to help protect the environment. So to conclude this part, learners should use technology wisely and responsibly to maximize its benefit while avoiding its risk. Agree? Yes. So, conclusion, to conclude, the different ICT issues discuss freedom of expression and censorship. Yan, natatanggap natin ito kanina. Issue number 1. Privacy and security. Issue number 2, surveillance and data retention. And 3, pollutants from e-waste. Show that technology has both benefits and challenges. Merong mga benefits, of course. Malaki yung nakukuha natin benefits dito sa technology, but meron din mga challenges. Ano kaya yung mga challenges na alam dyan sa technology? Rosie.
Nagiging sapat na yung mga estudyante.
Yes, tama. Meron din ganun. Ina-ask na lang lahat sa technology. As a responsible users, so we should use technology wisely, respect the rights and privacy of others. Hindi forget we have a freedom of expression. We can criticize, bully others, and help protect the environment for better digital future. Naintindihan niyo po ba yung mga issues na tinalakay natin? Thank you.